Bastion Market Daily Live Forex Market Outlook by Trader Plato. Introduction. The purpose of the market outlook is for us all to have an elite mastery of the forex market to an advanced level. The forex market is a decentralized market that runs 24/7 from Mondays to Fridays. It has a market capitalization of approximately $8 trillion daily. Dominant and non-dominant market participants. At the top and in the middle of the hierarchy, we have the dominant market participants. That is the central banks and the large financial institutions. At the bottom, we have the non-dominant market participants. Those are the retail traders. In a nutshell, the dominant market participants make up of 95% of the market participants, while the remaining 5% are the non-dominant market participants. Those are the retail traders. This is according to research and data from the Bank of International Settlement, the Bank for Central Banks. Market mechanics. Market mechanics is a unique hybrid trading strategy that utilizes technical and fundamental constants to generate accurate trading signals. Power of 3 AMD chronological order. On Fridays, we have the accumulation phase. On Mondays, we have the manipulation phase. On Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, we have the distribution phase. Therefore, we do not trade on Fridays and Mondays, as these are the accumulation and manipulation phase of the market. Power of 3 AMD chronological order. The Asian session is the accumulation phase, the London session is the manipulation phase, and the New York session is the distribution phase. So we do not trade the Asian session, as this is the accumulation phase, but we are allowed to trade the London session since it sometimes overlaps with the New York session. Power of 3 candlestick pattern order. Unique candlestick reveal mass psychology that symbolizes the power of 3, the accumulation, manipulation, and distribution. Below are the images of the candlestick showcasing the mass psychology and movement of the market. We have the bullish and the bearish candlestick patterns. Liquidity and trap zones. All the market concerns about is liquidity and nothing else. Liquidity is basically points in the chart where majority of orders are pending to be filled. Thus, liquidity is the energy of the market. Without liquidity, the market will not move. These zones are as follows: yearly high and low, monthly high and low, weekly high and low, daily high and low, swing high and low. Yeah, welcome to the chat. In the market mechanics, as we all know, we look out for liquidity and trap zones, which are zones that offer the best opportunities in price. So we look out for this zone to have a directional bias as to where price is likely to reverse from and how the market maker attempts to move price in its direction. However, we have no clear view of exactly where it's going to drop price to, but with the idea of the liquidity as well as a deep-rooted understanding of the candlesticks, we are able to accurately predict where price is likely going to draw towards throughout the day. New day, new target. That is how the market maker moves the market. So now let us focus on this cursor, as this cursor will serve as the hand of our tutor while we are learning. As you can see, price creating a series of lower lows, higher lows, and lower lows with a cluster of white candles. These white candles signify selling pressure. On the other hand, as you can see, price rallying up, creating a series of higher highs, lower highs, and higher highs, and a cluster of green candles. These green candles signify buying pressure. Meanwhile, as we can see, this candle, which is neither green nor white, this candle signifies indecision in the markets. Now back to business. On USD JPY, at the opening of the Asian session, we can see the buyers pulling price up, and the second half we can see the buyers maintaining their game and attempting to push price up. However, they failed to break the high of yesterday. And right here yesterday, we can see a strong resistance, and if liquidity is drawn towards here, we can expect this resistance to hold. However, if it doesn't hold, we can expect it to be broken for the market to give another pattern for a further sell. However, right here we can see a buy to sell in hindsight, as this is a buy side liquidity. with a stock of buy orders, so we can expect the sellers to break the high of the Asian session, grab liquidity, and induce buyers to take more positions, manipulate them, and distribute price to the downside, breaking the low of the day, breaking the low of yesterday for the US dollar to weaken against the Japanese yen. On USD CHF, at the opening of the Asian session, we can see the buyers in this zone, and the second half we can see an indecision candle, so we make no decision on this pair. On AUD JPY, at the opening of the Asian session, we can see the buyers in this zone, and the second half we can see the buyers with an impulsive move. Following from this, we can expect a buy side liquidity for a sell. Keep these two concepts in mind. The market sells to buy and the market buys to sell. Why does the market do this? The market does this because for sellers to make money, they need to take money away from buyers. Likewise, for buyers to make money, they need to take money away from sellers. That is why the market always buys to sell and the market always sells to buy. So right here, seeing this buy candle, we expect the high of the Asian session to be taken out, for buyers to be induced to take more buy position, and for price to go against them, and a sell candle with 1 or 2 that breaks this structure, then we can conclude that the Australian dollar will weaken against the Japanese yen. However, if price continues to rally up with a series of bullish candle, then we make no conclusion on this pair. Mind you, this strategy is a counter trend strategy, so we always attempt to go against the trend. As they say, the trend is your friend, but the beginning of the trend is your best friend. So this allows us to catch the beginning of the trend. On Euro USD, at the opening of the Asian session, we can see the buyers in this zone, and the second half we can see the sellers pushing price down impulsively. Following from this, we can see a sell side liquidity for a buy, so we expect the low of the day to be raided to induce more sellers, and for price to go against them with 1 or 2 candles to the buy side, breaking the high of the day, breaking the high of yesterday. Then we can conclude that the euro will strengthen further up. On AUD USD, at the opening of the Asian session, we can see the buyers in this zone, and the second half we can see the buyers attempting to push price impulsively up with a similar pattern to AUD JPY, as these are correlation pairs and they move in similar manner. So now we expect the high of the Asian session to be raided to induce more buyers, and price to go against the buyers with a bearish candle, either 1 or 2, breaking this structure, breaking the low of the day. Then we can conclude that the Australian dollar will weaken against the US dollar. On GBP USD, at the opening of the Asian session, we can see the buyers in this zone, and the second half we can see the sellers attempting to push price down. Following from this, we expect a sell side liquidity for a buy, and for that to happen, the low of the Asian session has to be raided to induce more sellers, and price has to go against them to the upside with 1 or 2 candles that closes as a bullish candle, breaks the high of the day, breaks the high of yesterday. Then we can conclude that the Great Britain pound will strengthen against the US dollar. On NZD USD, at the opening of the Asian session, we can see the buyers, and the second half we can see the sellers attempting to push price down. However, the buyers maintain their dominance. Following from this, we can expect a buy side liquidity for a sell, so we expect the high of the Asian session to be taken out, and for price to go against them with a bearish candle, either 1 or 2, grabbing liquidity and pushing price further down. On USD CAD, at the opening of the Asian session, we can see the buyers in this zone, and the second half we can see more buyers in this zone attempting to push price up. However, they failed to break the high of yesterday. Following from this, we expect a buy side liquidity for a sell, so we expect the Asian session high to be raided, grabbing liquidity and price going against these buyers to the downside, breaking the structure, breaking the low of the day with 1 or 2 candles. Then we can conclude that the US dollar will weaken against the Canadian dollar. When we read JPY, at the opening of the Asian session, we can see, what do we see here? We see buyers in this zone, and the second half we can see sellers pushing price down. However, we make no conclusion on this pair. On gold, we can see a sell side liquidity for a buy, so we expect the low of the day to be taken out, inducing more sellers, and price should close up as a bullish candle with 1 or 2, breaking the high of the day, going to the upside. Then we can conclude that gold will buy further up. On GG, at the opening we can see the buyers in this zone, and the second half we can see the sellers in this zone. However, we expect a sell side liquidity for a buy, so we expect the low of the day to be taken out, inducing inducing more inducing more sellers, and price going against them with 1 or 2 candles to the upside, grabbing liquidity and closing up, moving up. Then we can conclude that what that the Great Britain pound will strengthen against the Japanese yen. On silver, at the opening of the Asian session, we can see the buyers in this zone. At the second half, we can see the sellers grabbing liquidity and playing out the classic AMD. Following from this, we expect the low of yesterday to be taken out, and if it is taken out, then we can conclude that silver will sell further down. On USD we can see a similar pattern to silver. This is a accumulation of buyers, a manipulation of buyers to the upside, price going against them. This is a classic AMD. So we expect the low of yesterday to be taken out, liquidity should be grabbed, and we can expect that the US dollar will weaken against the CNH. On DXY, at the opening of the Asian session, we can see the buyers in this zone. And the second half, we can see the buyers breaking the high of yesterday. We can see the buyers breaking the high of yesterday. Following from this, we expect what? We expect liquidity to be grabbed, inducing more buyers, price going against them with a bearish candle with 1 or 2, breaking the structure. For a grab of liquidity, mind you, the high of the Asian session has to be broken to induce more buyers, and price has to go against the buyers. And this particular candle of the London has to close as a bearish candle with 1 or 2 breaking the low of the day, breaking the low of yesterday. Then we can conclude that DXY will ride further down. New day, new target. That's how the market maker moves the market. On BTC USD, at the opening, we can see sellers in this zone, and the second half we can see buyers pushing price up. Following from this, we expect a buy side liquidity for itself. So we expect the high of the day to be raided, inducing more buyers to take position, price going against them, breaking the structure, then we can conclude that the BTC will weaken against the US dollar. Plan your trade, trade your plan, and most importantly, manage your risk and emotions. Have a peaceful week ahead.